Hello, everyone, and welcome to a brand new weekly live stream. So in this live stream, we'll be covering the latest Divi features in depth. So every time we release a feature, I'll be hosting this show and going through all those latest features and to explore possible options that we can, use these for creative ways. Okay, so this is going to be every Monday at 7 a.m. Eastern. So if you're over there in the States, I know it's a bit too early, but you can always watch the replay because we are going to keep these shows on our timeline. Okay, so today we'll be talking about the latest Divi feature update. So let's go through the agenda so you're aware of what we'll be covering today. So we're going to start off with the features, and then we're going to talk about the global settings. So there are two ways to set your fonts. So you can either set them up globally. So by setting them up globally, it means that every time you make your changes on your website, it will be taking those global settings. However, you can then adjust all your settings as you're designing your websites in the individual modules. So I'll show you how to do both options. Okay, so as I mentioned, we'll be going also through an overview of these latest features, explaining which ones they are, and also explaining where these changes are. And then after that, I'm also going to do a demo. So in the demo, what I'll be doing is I'll go to one of our free giveaways that we give out every Monday, install that on our website, and then make changes to those designs. So this saves us time rather than be redesigning a full page and then showing you all these changes. And then finally, we'll go into our question and answer session where you can ask me questions. Now, just to make it clear and just to make this a bit more interactive, I'll appreciate if you ask me the questions to do with this particular show or the particular item that we'll be discussing. In this case, it will be the fonts update. Okay, so let me just adjust this. Right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go into the live demo and let's go through all these options. Right, so the layout that I'll be using is going to be the layout I'll be using is the one that was released on last Monday, which is the business layout pack. So this business layout pack comprises of a few pages. So what I'm going to be doing is I'll be using one of these pages here to do my demo. Okay, so before we go into that, let's go into our dashboard and let me show you where you can do all your global settings. So over here, I'm going to come to Divi and then click on Theme Customizer. Right, so here in Theme Customizer, this is where you get to set all your fonts. So here you can go to your general settings, click on typography, and this is where now you get to set your font. So your default font here, your body font could be, let's say Able. In my case, I've got Lato as my default font, and my header font is also right here. You can set it here to whatever font you want. So those are the settings that will apply throughout your whole website as you're designing your website. And then obviously here, you can also adjust your text sizes. So this will be the default text size that will be applied throughout your whole website. You can also adjust your line height and also the header text size. Okay, so with this out of the way, let's now go in and go through all the latest updates. So first of all, we had 200 fonts in our font library, but now this has been bumped up to 600. So this is fantastic news because as designers, you can imagine what that's going to do to your design options or font options. We have now a lot more options to work with, and also we can actually search these fonts. So it's easy. So if you have a specific font in mind, you can always go in and start searching for it. And I'll be showing you these in the demos as we go ahead. Right. The other thing as well, which is It may be a simple feature, but it's massive. It's the ability to have a preview of your fonts as you're searching for them. So before, it used to be a bit tricky to go in, you see a font name, and you don't know exactly what it looks like. So you would have to go maybe to Google Fonts and take a look at the preview over there as you're going through these fonts. But now everything is done within your options, which is fantastic. The other thing as well, which is brilliant, is the fact that you can upload your own fonts into the library. Okay, so before it used to be done using CSS, but to make things easier now, you can always upload your font straight onto your library and start using them. Number 4, font styles. So we have different font weights. Again, this is brilliant if you're a designer, because now you have a lot more options to play around with as you're designing your website. Okay, so let's close this and let's start taking a look at our website. So over here, I uploaded a landing page. So by the way, if you're not sure how to upload these pages onto your website, let me show you how to do that. So go to the link. In fact, this is the page. If you go to this layout pack giveaway, if you scroll all the way down here to the bottom, you will see an opt-in form. All right, it's oh, it's way down to the bottom. Okay, here we go. Right, so we can see here we have an option to download the layout pack. Now, this button is showing because I already opted in. So if it's your first time to go to this page, you would have to opt in. And then as soon as you've opted in, you'll get this option of this button. Okay, so once you've downloaded your layout pack, it gets downloaded onto your computer. And then next, what you need to do is to come over here to Divi, click on Divi Library. So this is where all your layouts are stored. So to import the layout, you first of all unzip the folder. And then once you've unzipped it, you come over here to import and export. Click import. And then you choose file. Now this is where you navigate to the folder where you downloaded your fonts, your layout pack, and where you've unzipped it. So once you've done that, you select it and then you import the layouts. And once you've imported them, they will come here. And these are the pages that I've just imported. Okay, so now they're sitting in our library. Okay, so that's all you have to do. Now, if you want to add these to your pages, all you have to do is to come here to pages, click on add new, and then you come over here to use, or in fact, before you go to the visual builder, you need to come over here to load from library. So you click on that, and then you click on add from library. Right, so these are all the layouts that were recently uploaded from our layout pack. Now, I'm just checking to see if we have any comments here. So far we have 4 comments. Now, before I go ahead, let's let me just lower my volume here so I can see all my comments. So we have Helen. Thanks a lot for joining us. She says 1 p.m. here. I'm fine. Awesome. Thanks a lot for tuning in. We also have Raymond. Raymond, thanks for tuning in. Awesome. All right. So let's continue with the live stream. Right. So here, these are all our pages. So I'm just going to close these. So now this is where you find them. So to add your page to your design, you first create the page. So in this case, I've created this page and I've named it new page. So here you click on load from library, add from library, and then you decide which page you need to add. So let's say you want to load the home page layout. So all you have to do is to come over here, click on load. Right, so that's all the elements that go into our page. And then all you have to do is to click publish. Right, so now I'm just going to do a quick preview and take a look at our page. So if I click on view, you can see that this is the page that we've just uploaded. Okay, awesome. We also have Candy in the house. Hi, Candy. Thanks a lot for joining us. And oh, Candy's from Michigan. Fantastic. Right. Okay, so now that we have our page loaded, let's take a look at how we can customize these font options. Right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go into the Visual Builder. So I'm going to click on Enable Visual Builder. Right, so now we're in the Visual Builder. So all these modules have all the text updates, which is fantastic. So let's start off here with this first one. So I'm going to come over here to this gear icon to access our module settings. Right. So here, this is the full width header settings. So I'm going to click on design. So now if I come to text, we can see that our text is light because it is on a dark background, so we can see it, which is good. But now the main options that the option I'm going for here is the title text. Right. So here on the title text, we can see the extra additions. Now we have H1, H2, H3, H4, and so on. You can also choose your font. Now, let me show you that demo that I was talking about. So if I click here on the drop down, we can actually now search for the fonts, as I mentioned before. So let's say the font you're looking for is Lato. I'll just type it here, and you can see straight away it shows up, which is brilliant. Okay, I'm going to get rid of that. And next, if we take a look here at the it also shows your most recent font. So let's say you're working with a few fonts in your designs. Instead of going through the whole list and looking for them, they are also added here on the recent fonts, which is good, easier to find. Now, if we come over here, we can now see that all these fonts have demos. So as I'm scrolling through these, you can see, you can have an idea of what this font is going to look like. Okay, so as I'm going through these, you can see that these are all different designs. So let's say I select this. Now this has been applied, and the element that we are adjusting here is the H1. And then what you can do straight away is to increase the size if you want to, like that. You can increase the line height. Okay, so that's it with the full width header settings. I'm going to close this and not save it. Right, so now let me come over here and access my module settings. So this is a call to action module. So here, if I go into my design, again, if we take a look at our title text, you can see here that this is a H2. And again, as before, we can always come in here and make those changes as we please. Okay. Right. Let me take a look at the comments. I can see there's a lot more comments here. Helen is from the Netherlands. Awesome, awesome. It's always good to see that we have an audience coming from all parts of the world. I mean, it's really, really exciting. Thank you very much for tuning in. Thomas is saying, I've been using Divi for 6 months, and I think so far I'm blown away by the flexibility, ease of use, amazing features, updates, best theme so far. Awesome. Thanks a lot for that. I really appreciate that. And we'll do our best to show you how we use these features. And also our design team behind the scenes is working so hard to produce all these features for you so that you can create great, awesome looking websites. All right, so here we are. Let's go back to the tutorial. Right, here we are on the call to action settings. So we can see here our H2 is selected. And our font weight, yes, this is something I hadn't spoken about. So this is our header H2. So our font weight here, this is something that we didn't have before. Now we have thin, ultra thin, light, regular, medium, semi-bold, and so on. So this is awesome because this gives you an extra option when it comes to designing your website. So I'm going to come over here. Let's select light. You can see here that the update now has been applied. We can even go ultra light. All right, so over here on the font style, let's do all caps like that. can see that that looks beautiful, right? We can even make it bigger like that, make it smaller. So these are the extra options that we have. Right, so let's go on and let's talk about a different module. So I'm going to save this for now. So this time I am going to use some paragraph text because we have more features in the paragraph text. So I'm going to click on, in fact, let me add a brand new module. And this is going to be a text module like that. I'm going to select it. So, you know, I'm lazy when it comes to typing. I'm not very fast at typing, so I usually default to this lorem text. So I want to copy this and paste it. Okay, like that. Now, I want to show you a very exciting trick when it comes to designing your website. Right, so here we are. I've added my text in my text module here on the bottom. So if you want to add, say, headings onto this text module, let me show you how to do it. So you need to make sure you're in visual mode. And then here, I'm going to, in fact, before I even highlight the text, I'm going to enter. So my text can be on its separate line. So here you highlight the text like that, come over here to your paragraph and select your heading type. So if it's H1, you can select it here and you can see now that it's been applied here. Now that we've applied our H1, now we can go to design and customize that heading. So instead of going to text now, our heading has been assigned. So we come over here to our heading and we can start customizing it. So here we can make it all caps. We can change the size. And we can come over here to the font weight. We can change that to light if you want to. Semi-bold. Okay, and we can also increase the line height like that, which is brilliant. Right, let's take a look at something else we can do here. So this heading font style, we can strike through like that if we want to. We can also underline it. We can also have it italicized. And obviously here we also have our text alignment options. You can center it if you want to, like that. Okay, so let me take a look at some of these comments. Oh, Piers, we've got Piers from Bristol. Oh, yeah, here in the UK. Awesome, awesome, awesome. We have Fabian. Now, you need to forgive me if I pronounce these names wrong, but I'm just excited that, you know, everyone is here on the live show and it's really, really cool. Okay, so we also have here Thomas. Thomas says, yeah, bigger icon variety will be great. Yes, I mean, you need to stay tuned because we have a lot of updates in the works. So all these things are going to be covered. Okay, so let's go back into our tutorial here. Right, now I've done the heading. So let's go back to our content. So over here, let's say we need to add header 2. So again, I'm going to add a line, highlight my text, and we're going to change this from paragraph to header 2. Okay. Now, if I come back to my design, all I have to do now is to go to my heading text. So here I can click on H2, and as I start making all my changes, it applies to H2 because that's what we assigned it to. So you can see here, I'm moving that. If I click on H1, I can increase that like that. So this makes it much, much fun to design. Awesome. Right. So we also have other things that we could do here. But before I lose track, let me just save this for now. And let's take a look at something else. Right. We are now going to go into a blog post and also do some more options, customizations, and all that good stuff. So over here, I've, as before, I've just added my dummy text, and I've also added my my picture here, because all these font options, they apply to pages and also posts. So this is why I'm giving this example on the post. Right, so I'm going to click on Enable Visual Builder. Right, so my visual builder is added. I'm going to click here into my module settings, and this is just a basic text module. So here again, as before, let's add a title to this, like that. And make sure you add a line. So the title, the line which is going to have our heading is on a separate line. Otherwise, this won't be applied properly. Now, here's the thing. Before I added my header in this using this this option. Now let's do it in line. So I'm going to come over here, highlight my text. In fact, let me close this for now. Right. So let's say I want to make this heading this text my heading. I'm going to select it like that, inline, highlight it, and then I'm going to come over here to my text settings, and this is where you can set your heading. But as I mentioned before, you need to make sure that this is in its own line, otherwise the formatting won't be applied properly. Okay, so I'm going to highlight this again, come over here to my text. Now I can choose H1, just like that. Okay, so this is awesome. I'm going to close this. And now if you need to customize this, you can always go now into our module settings, click on design, and click on the heading text. And now that heading that I've applied, you can start adding all your customizations to it. Okay, just like that. Okay, so let me save this for now. So the next thing we're going to do is to go into the styling. Thomas says you can preview fonts. Yes, that's something that I've also mentioned. Yes, you can preview fonts. In fact, let me show you quickly in case you've just joined us. So I'm going to come over here, click my module settings, design. Okay, so let's say you want to choose your font. If you come over here and you highlight the font, you can see here that you're getting a preview. Right, so that's how you preview all your fonts. Right, awesome. So let me close this. Right, so for all of you that are joining us now, this is a brand new weekly show where we'll be showcasing all the Divi feature updates. So we are doing this because we'd like to go in depth on these updates because in most cases, it's just a preview of these Divi features. But this show is where we go in depth and show you how you can apply these features into your designs, where they are and how to use them. Okay, so back to the tutorial. Right, so over here, I'm gonna go into my module settings and click on design. So here on our regular text, this is something that I haven't mentioned, but if you take a look here, we also have options to style all our fonts. I mean, all our text, our paragraph text. So let's say I want to, okay, let's highlight this text here. And let's say I need to add my bullets. So we can stylize these bullets as well. So let me just arrange my text in the order that I want, and then let's apply those bullets. Right, okay, so we've got that. Now let's go to our text, our content, click on text. So let's say these are the bullets that we need to add. Okay, like that. In fact, let's add one more. In fact, these two will do. Okay, so now if we come to our design, click on text. So I've selected the bullets here. So you can see here that we can start customizing just the bullets. Okay, this is awesome, right? And if we come here, we can also change our font weight. We can change this to semi-bold. So you can see as I'm making my changes, it's happening because the bullets have been selected, okay? So here, like that. Let's come over here and add our line height. So you can see here, our line height is only being applied to the item that we selected here, which is really, really cool. So we can also change these unordered lists. It can be a circle as it is now. We can change this to a square like that. outside or inside, you know, we have a whole lot more to play around with here. Okay, you can also have the indent. Right, so now that we've covered this, let's move on to the next item. So let's say, in fact, let me come over here, highlight my text. Or in fact, let me come back here to my content. So let's say I need to make a link, right, and customize that link. So I've highlighted this text, added my link. So I'll just add a blank URL. Oops. That. Oh. Sure what is happening today. Okay. Right. So that's my link. Let's come over here to design, text. Now, if I click on this link tab, check this out. I can now increase that and customize it the way I want. Isn't that cool? Right. And also, we can underline it if you want to. We can make it all caps. So as you can see, we are actually drilling into each part of our text and customizing it the way we want. And I think this is great for us designers and for anyone that wants to start designing websites, because these are the sort of things that that before you'd have to use CSS to do. Now we have all our design tools all in these features, which is fantastic. You can also come over here and change the underline color like that. Okay, so let's say you want it to stand out. You can make it yellow. In fact, yellow doesn't stand out. Sorry about that. Okay, so you can do all sorts of changes here. The link text color as well, you can change that and make it whatever color that you want. Now, this is great because you can always use the colors from your design palette. So this helps your website to be consistent, just in case you have a default color that's being applied to all your links. So you can actually go in and customize these and make them look the way you want. And as I mentioned before, you can also do your letter spacing here if you wanted to, like that. And also, you can do it all caps, italicized. Right, so you can see that all our features have quite a lot, you know, that we could do. Now, let's come over here and highlight this. In fact, let's go back to our content area. Let's add a numbers list. That. Okay, right, so I'm gonna highlight my text, numbered list. Now let's go to our design. So in our design, again, we're going to go into text. Select our numbered list. And as before, we can customize this. We can increase our text size. We can also increase our line height like that. Change the color. And in fact, if you wanted to, we can make it all caps, but yeah, we don't have to do that. Okay, so we can see all our options here. You can add a decimal if you wanted to. So you see here, we have a lot more options here that you can play around with, which is really, really cool. Okay, now let's go on to our quote. So I'm going to come back here to our content, highlight my text, add my quote. In fact, let's add more text to that. Right. Okay, let me choose my blog quote. Come over here to design, text. Now, if I select my quote, blog quote, I can now customize this. And again, this is something that we had to use CSS to do. And this is amazing. So the size, we can increase it here like that, customize it. And again, all this is being done in the blog post. So you can actually style your blog post and make it look the way you want. Right, so here I'm gonna increase my line height so this looks much better. Like that. The weight, we can increase the weight. Look at that. All these are specific customizations that we can do with our new font update. And then here we can actually change the color like that. So I think this is really, really cool. Now let's take a look at what else we can do here. So we can change the text. So sometimes you may want to differentiate this text from the rest of the text on your page. So let's go for, in fact, that's a bit too, let's go for light. Okay, that's beautiful. You can also make it italicized like that. In fact, the size is way too big. Let's reduce this a little bit. Right. Here, we can also add the spacing if you wanted to, but we're just going to keep it simple and leave it at 2. We mentioned the line height. So you can see, you can actually go in and do really, really cool customizations to all these updates. Now, let me take a moment out here and take a look at some of our comments. Wow, that's a lot of comments here. Hey, thanks everyone for tuning in. I'm really, really excited about this. And in fact, I'm now looking forward to the next one because the engagement here is awesome. In fact, I want to find a better way of doing this because right now I have to look away at my phone here to look at the comments, which is not a good experience for me. I would prefer to have the comments on the screen so I can read them as I'm designing. So that's a better way. Now we're working on a new type of software that we're going to use for that. So just bear with me. In our next show, it's going to be way much better than this. Right, so let me just go through some of these. So we have Casey, thanks for tuning in. We have George. He's asking, can I watch later? Yes, this is going to be on our Facebook page, so you can watch this later. So that's really cool. Right. Sam says, excellent. Thank you. Just scrolling through these peers. We have Thomas. We have Bhuvan. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that well. We also have Tim watching. Thanks a lot, Tim, for tuning in. Courtney, wow. There's a lot of you tuned into this live stream. I mean, and I can't thank you enough. I mean, this makes my work much easier as you guys tune into this, because I'm sure it'll be very weird if I'm speaking to no one out there. So thanks a lot for tuning in. Okay, so we've covered that. Let me see, what else have I left out here? Let me come back over here to my agenda. Font styles, headings, lists, customizing links. Yes, we've done all that. So all these can be found in different modules. So let's take a look at that. So I'm going to come over here to my landing page that I uploaded earlier on. So let's add some more modules and let me show you where these things are. So I'm going to click this plus button here. And let's try a blurb. Okay. So here, let's give this a title called test. That. Add our content. Now, if you know me by now, I use this lorem text because typing is just way too much for me. Right, I'm going to paste it here. So straight away, we can't see the text because it's on a blue background. So let me come over here and just make this text light like that. Okay, now we can see it. Okay. So we can come over here to our icon. Let's add an icon for this. Like that. Now, this is just demo purposes. I'm not making this look really creative or anything. I just want to make sure that we can see all our options as we use these different modules. So over here, I can come over here to my text, title text. So now we can see all our options are there. So we have them on the blurb as well. So let me close this. Let's add another one. In fact, let me add it below here. So if you go to your call to action. We've done that. Contact form. Let's try that. So if you come over here to our design, title text, same thing. We have all our options here. We have our headings. We can also search our fonts. As you can see, the preview is right there, which is really cool. So most of these modules, if not all of them, have all the text option, the font options update, which is really, really cool. All right, so let's do a Q&A. And as I mentioned before, if we make this Q&A about the font feature update, that will be really cool. Otherwise, this will be all over the place. So if you have any questions, why not add it onto the notes. So we have Andrew asking, are more header and menu styling options coming anytime soon? Yeah, there's a lot of work in the behind the scenes that we're working on. So we just have to see what is going to be released, but I can't give any specific information regarding all these future updates. I mean, as you can understand. Okay. Okay, we've got a question here from George. He was saying, can we watch later? And I think I answered that, and I said yes. This is going to be, this is going to be saved on our Facebook page, so you can watch it later, which is cool. Casey. I'm not sure what this question is. You say, Casey's saying, and it's backed up with PHP, which is the #1 backend language. I'm not sure about that. Let's close this for now. Right, so if you have any questions, can you drop them in the comments box, please, so I can try and answer them. If not, I will wrap this up. Okay, Casey is saying, is this WordPress? This is Divi running on WordPress. So yeah, this is Divi, but it's running on WordPress. Okay, I'm just taking a look here. Courtney says, I don't like the fact that you can't preview the fonts before using them. It means you have to have another screen open in order for you to know what font you're looking at. Now, as I mentioned before, you don't have to do that, Courtney. All you have to do is to come into in fact, let's go into our module settings. Click on design. Text. Now, here, if we come over here to our font, we don't have to. I mean, the preview is there. You can actually see what an idea of what the font looks like. I don't know if you can see this because I can't zoom into this screen, but the preview is there as you scroll through the fonts. Okay. I hope you can see this. In fact, this one is maybe much better to see. So if this is script, so you can have an idea of what sort of font it is just by putting your mouse over the font. And this is the new update that we just recently added, which wasn't there before. So yes, that feature is there. You can have a preview of your fonts. Right, let's take a look. If we have any... Okay, so it looks like I'm just going through my fonts. I mean, my fonts. I'm just going through the questions. And it doesn't seem like we have more questions here. Anyway, if you have any more questions, all you can do is you can leave them in the comments box. And what we'll do is I can always come in and answer those questions. Once again, I'd like to say thank you very much for tuning in. I really appreciate that. So this does it for today's live stream. Catch me next Monday at 7 a.m. Eastern, which will be 12 p.m. over here in the UK. So thanks a lot for tuning in, and see you next time. Thank you.